Hey guys, welcome back. So I want to be really quick here. I wasn't intending on doing a video. I was actually just sitting here reading a book, enjoying the sunset. But this topic came to mind and I really wanted to get it out there. So I've spoken about awareness before, more so in the context of knowing yourself and being, conscious of yourself. But I want to talk about it in a slightly different way this time. And that is when it comes to your focus, when it comes to where your attention is, where your awareness is. Now, two things that can really catch us is, one, we can be focused on the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's a common one. But I want to talk a little bit more so about one of the things that can catch us a little bit off guard, and that is being focused on the right thing at the wrong time. Focus on the right thing at the wrong time. So I've mentioned before how I was caught up in reading certain books and certain things, or going after certain objectives. I wanted to do public speaking, and it was about 2 years ago that I was really starting to delve off into that. But it wasn't until I had started meeting up with a speaker. She was actually a cheerleader for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I met up with her for some mentoring when it comes to public speaking. And one of the things that she brought to my attention early on, or made me realize early on, is I wasn't really connected with what I wanted to talk about. I wasn't really connected with my messages. I remember that question. It may not be the exact words, but she asked me, what is my central point, or what is it that I'm trying to get across to people? If someone were to listen to me, what is it that I'm trying to get across to them? And I had an idea. I thought I knew what it was, but it didn't hit me until months to perhaps a year plus later on what that really was. So at that point in time, I was focused on an objective or a target or something that I wanted to do that perhaps was the right thing. It was something that I felt was beneficial, something that I wanted to do, something that I felt could be beneficial to other people. But at the same time, like I said, that was the right thing that I was focused on, but it was at the wrong time. Perhaps, I wouldn't have known this. I wouldn't have known this back at that point in time. As Steve Jobs had mentioned, I say this perhaps a lot, about you can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking back. And that somehow applied to this situation. I at that point in time, I wouldn't have known that I wasn't connected with what I want to get across. But looking back, I realized that I wasn't. And looking back, that is, I can look back now and find that time period in which I did find that message. I did find what it is that I truly want to get across to people. Perhaps one of the things. So, that's one of the things that we can get caught up in. That's one of the traps, I believe. I talk about reading books a lot, and my last video, I spoke about the importance of reading books. But I've noticed that some people, they may buy a bunch of books, or, they may buy these online courses or whatever it is. And like I said, that's not to talk negative about any of that, but they will buy these things. Perhaps they've gotten motivated. Perhaps they've gotten excited about something, or the idea of doing something. They'll get excited about it. They'll go off and, perhaps buy a book related to it, take a course, get into these meetings and all this sort of stuff. And then what happens is that they will fall off of that. They will lose contact with it, and then they will perhaps grow bored of it. Or they may realize it's probably too difficult, or they don't want to do it. And I believe that sometimes that is the result of being focused on the right thing at the wrong time. Sure, whatever it is that you're trying to do may be able to bring benefit to you, or it may be something that you want to benefit other people in, but it may just be the wrong time to actually have your focus in that area. We oftentimes can catch ourselves being focused on the wrong thing at the wrong time, but one of the more difficult ones is realizing when you're focusing on the right thing at perhaps the wrong time. So I think that this is one of the things that we have to be very careful with, and one of the reasons why is that so that we won't be sold on things. As I said, there are many people trying to sell you perhaps books on certain things, and again, you may get excited about it. You may get excited to take a course, or you may get excited. And this is one of the things that I see a lot. I see a lot on, perhaps social media and on YouTube. There are many people trying to sell you on things, and it's a result of marketing. It's a result of target marketing based on the things that you search for, the things that you're interested in. And so that content is being provided to you. But again, you have to be careful with that you don't just get caught in the trap of doing something because you think it is the right time to do it. or, you know, perhaps just don't get caught in the excitement of that moment. Because again, usually that happens, that excitement dies off, and then you may actually stay away from something that could be beneficial to you. You know, you may realize that you hate it, or you may dislike it for the wrong reasons, or simply because it's at the wrong period of time. And again, you don't want to just be sold on things when you aren't truly connected with them. And that's one of the things that sometimes you'll find out. You may find out that something that you had an interest in perhaps in the past 2 or 3 years, that now you have a little bit more insight in the area, you have a little bit more experience in that area, and you're a little bit more connected to it than you were in the past. Again, that was how it was with me when it came to public speaking. I didn't know my message. I simply wanted to speak, you know, for various reasons, and, you know, for good reasons. But again, I wasn't really connected with what I wanted to get across at that point in time, or perhaps what I want to get across to a specific audience at that period in time. So, like I said, that's something that I have discovered at a later point in time. So, again, be careful with this, because you don't want to be sold on things. You don't want to be vulnerable to impulse buying things or getting into certain classes or courses or whatever when you're not truly connected with what you want. Again, you know, sometimes you'll find out your interests may change, and sometimes you'll find out later in life that you're a little bit more prepared, or you're a little bit more ready to go a certain avenue. Again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get off into things and test them out. It just means that you're being careful with it, that it doesn't, again, that you're not just necessarily sold on, you know, certain things that are related to your interests. So be very careful with that. I think that is one of the reasons why many people may start things that they don't finish, because at that point in time, they just weren't connected with it. One of the things that really, I believe, that made this topic come to mind is this book that I'm reading right now. And I won't even mention the name or who the person is from, because I don't want to really target anyone. But it was a book that I found online that I saw as a recommendation on Facebook. You know, you will see, like I said before, you will see a lot of these recommendations based off of your interests, things that you're going for. So I had already been a little bit skeptical, and that's one of the things that I should probably briefly mention, that it's good to be a skeptic. And now this doesn't mean that you're not open, that you have a closed mind. It's just good to approach things with a little bit of skepticism, and that's one of the ways that I approach this book. You know, so it's not a book that says how to make $1 million or anything like that. You know, I don't even know, I may have a book like that over there on my bookshelf, but you know, I think that, again, this is one of the traps that can really catch people. They may hear that flashy topic, or hear someone who found a lot of success in their life, and they may think that if they read this book, it is going to be the guaranteed route for them to success. And I think most of the times it is one of the most guaranteed routes to not find success, to get caught up in that mindset that this is the key, this is the silver bullet. I believe that mindset prevents a lot of people from getting to what they're actually trying to achieve. A lot of people perhaps they're overly optimistic, or they're perhaps too easily sold based off of, you know, the stuff that other people are flaunting in their face. We see this a lot of times on advertisements. We see this with people with their, you know, fancy cars and all this sort of stuff in the background. Again, this is not to say that anything is wrong with that. It's just being careful not to get sold. Being careful not to get sold based off of those, you know, just off of what you're seeing from other people, just off of the lifestyle that they're showing. Because, you know, maybe some of that lifestyle isn't even true. Maybe it's not. Again, just do not be sold that you should do this or X amount of things, or these are exact steps. You read this, you're gonna make $1 million. You watch this, you join this course, you're gonna make whatever. Just be careful with that. Again, like I said, trying to do the right things at perhaps the wrong time. And with this, it's more so a case of spending too much of your life looking for perhaps an easy road. Too much of your life looking for something that is just that you feel that's going, you know, is going to lead you to where you're trying to go. You know, you have good intentions, good objectives, good goals, but you can't be sold on how you're actually going to get there. So the important thing about this is you just have to be aware of the process. Like, again, the process of me discovering my message occurred through months, and a lot of time spent in my mind, a lot of time spent really reflecting on life, really getting into my mind. And like I said, some of the things that I read, some of the things that I may have watched, you know, all this stuff just brewed, and it allowed me to get to that point where, you know, through reflection on life, all this stuff added up and allowed me to get to that point where I really did connect with what I feel that I want to get across to people. So that was a process. That is not something that a book could have given me. That is not something that a course could have given me. That isn't even something that, you know, the person that was mentoring me, that's not something that she could have given me. That is something that I had to discover on my own. And through effort, that is how I discovered that. Through effort, that is how I discovered that. Again, it may not be that I was directly looking for it, but through effort of something that I was truly connected with, or something that I was trying to find a connection with, I found it. So that is the important thing. Be aware of the process. You know, there is no quick ways, there's no shortcuts or none of that stuff. So, you know, with doing the right thing, with putting your focus on the, you know, you want to, of course, have your focus on the right thing at the right time. So, you know, if you have a goal, a certain way to get to it, it may not be the right time to exercise on that goal, or it may not be the right time to execute and go down a certain path. That time may come, but you have to be aware of yourself. You have to be aware of what you're trying to achieve. You know, you have to critique yourself on, am I doing enough? You know, am I really connected with what I'm doing? You know, and if you're not, then perhaps you should, you know, discover another avenue, or perhaps you should try to find another avenue. And that is the thing. You just have to have that awareness of yourself. You have to have that awareness of your goals, the awareness of where you are right now. What sort of progress are you making? How you feel about the actions that you're taking, and really, you know, evaluate yourself and say, is this aligning with my overall goal? Is this aligning with what I'm trying to achieve? And just one more point on that. Again, with being sold these things from other people, again, you can waste a lot of time. You can waste a lot of energy in you know, doing things, or perhaps pursuing certain answers to questions or certain how-tos. I talked about this before with being careful with looking for exact answers in life, being careful with looking for exact steps. Sometimes it's just a process that you will learn yourself through, you know, through time. Sometimes it's just a process of realizing things at your own pace, and that is one of the important things. You have to be able to work at your own pace. Not be sold at what pace you should be going at. Not be sold that you should do this at this point in time. It doesn't work that way. And like I said, usually if that happens, you're just going to lose interest, or, you know, you're just gonna be caught in a constant state of continue to do things over and over and over and over again for something that you're not really connected with. And when you're not connected with it, again, it doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many courses you take. It doesn't matter how many people you listen to or what you do. If you're not truly connected with what you're trying to do, or truly connected with whatever this interest is, then you'll be running on a treadmill. You know, you're not covering any distance. You're just standing in the same spot and just running and running and running. But that's all I want to talk about. Again, I wasn't really planning on doing a video on this, or wasn't planning on doing a video at this point in time, but this thought came to mind as I was actually reading a book. And I won't even mention the book because it sort of triggered this thought. So I probably should not do that. But anyways, I will catch you guys later. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll talk to you next time.